Welcome to the Arasta channel. In this video, I will explain the story of the Donghua series Swallowed Star, Season 2, Episode 82. In the previous episode, we were shown the appearance of the golden horned behemoth monster, which finally reappeared after resting on the seabed. In order to stop the creature, in the end it was Luo Feng who had to use a B6 type laser cannon, which was said to be capable of destroying star-level creatures. As the figure who did the killings and attacks on the front lines, Luo Feng used the sentry robot he had found on the Black Dragon Mountain plain before. This robot would operate the star-destroying laser cannon. After being shot hard by the laser cannon on its head, the golden horned behemoth monster was finally defeated, and humanity was able to win. But the streaks of golden light on the golden horn's body were still burning. After seeing the monster's condition, did you think it was dead or still alive? Instead of being curious, we just go straight to the story. After beating a very strong opponent, namely the golden horned behemoth monster. After killing him, it wouldn't be right if there wasn't a victory celebration, so that's what the warriors are doing right now. So, finally, everyone can breathe a sigh of relief because the big disaster has gone away. But when Luo Feng looked at Leader Hong, who was staring with serious eyes at the virtual screen, he realized that all the terrible things that have happened to people are not over yet. The golden lines on the golden horned behemoth's body were still alive and shining. This is a very strange sign, and the warriors immediately stop talking when they see it. Babada, who knew this fact, was confused, because every being should have a soul that is contained in the sea of consciousness, and the sea of consciousness itself is in the head. So if the head of a living thing is destroyed, it will die immediately. In this case, there are actually some living things that can keep their souls by dividing them into cells in their bodies, and regenerating using the cells when they lose their heads. But at least this method shouldn't be used by a creature like the golden horned behemoth that is still at the star level. Does the creature have this kind of natural talent and special skill? When we enter the body of a golden horned monster, we will see a shining golden soul core and start to feel reactions. And of course, that was the result of the soul shard that the golden horned monster purposely separated, where the cells slowly began to move towards a part of the head of the golden horn that had its shape destroyed. All of the warriors who saw it were speechless at what they were now seeing. But one thing is certain, they know that the big battle is still not over. The golden horn soul core that flew into the air shone extremely brightly. And shortly after, the cell changed its shape into a golden horn, which slowly began to merge back into the golden horn's head, which had been shattered. The golden behemoth, who had lost his soul, finally came back to life when the shape of the golden horn came again. And at last, the golden horn was back on the move. And what's even scarier is that these creatures can now go more than 30,000 miles per second. He was now twice as fast as he used to be, and this made the warrior fall even further into the abyss of choices. The golden horned behemoth was back and stronger than before. It's the same with Luo Feng, who is the one who carries hope and is now very restless after his last effort, and hope were finally crushed again by the golden horned behemoth. Luo Feng couldn't believe it. How could this creature still be alive if it had already lost its head? The monster he was now facing was completely unreasonable. Not long after that, Jie also realized that the golden behemoth, which was flying fast, was now heading towards the robot with a laser cannon. So, Jie suggested to Luo Feng that he immediately withdraw the robot from the battle location. But since the speed of the golden horn monster has doubled, it is now impossible for the robot to get away from it, and it is certain that it will soon be caught. So, Luo Feng would get ready for his second laser attack to fire back at the golden horned behemoth monster to make a space for the robot to escape. Luo Feng also set the laser cannon's preparation time to 10 seconds before it could fire, because he doesn't have as much time as before to prepare the strongest attack from the laser cannon. But in reality, Luo Feng's attempt failed again because 10 seconds was still not enough. And in the end, the golden horn behemoth hit the robot and destroyed it, along with the star-destroying laser cannon he was carrying. After making sure the laser cannon that hurt him was completely destroyed and the robot that was carrying him was damaged, he got back in the air and glided toward China to continue his trip, which had been delayed. Not long ago, the China military recently got the latest news that the military area in the northeastern part of China had fallen, even though it was the only military base left in the world. This means that there is not a single military base left in the world. On the other hand, the main base city was constantly being attacked by waves of king-level monsters, which made this situation even worse. Current situation at 6:34 a.m., monsters have taken over the Brazil city base. Then, at 7:15 a.m., king-level flying and ground monsters attacked Paris non-stop for 8 hours. Finally, the city has fallen. And as of 9:34 a.m., it was said that 10 major base cities around the world had fallen and been taken over by monsters. Seeing these moments cross Leader Hong's mind, he remembers that originally this war god's palace was the last bastion for all mankind against monsters. But in fact, not a single member of the war god palace was capable of taking on the golden horn behemoth. Hong was also worried about the main base city, which is now starting to fall into the hands of the monsters. One by one, the current wave of monster invasions caused a lot of trouble. And if this kept up, Hong thought, it was likely that things would get even worse than during the Grand Nirvana time. Therefore, so that such a terrible thing wouldn't happen, here, Hong and the God of Thunder will continue their plan, which had been put on hold, where both of them want to fight the golden horn behemoth with their own strength. Hong then told the warriors in front of him that he and the God of Thunder would fight until the last drop of blood against the golden horn behemoth. Because this is a great chance that shouldn't be missed, given that this creature just got a big cut on its head. Hearing what Leader Hong said, Luo Feng and the other warriors who felt they had a duty to protect humanity would also be willing to fight the golden horn behemoth until the last drop of blood. After seeing how passionately the warriors fought, Hong then said that in the plan to fight the golden horn behemoth, only he and Lei Shen would be in the lead this time, because the other fighters still aren't strong enough, and because they still can't make domains. Hong said that being able to make domains would be very helpful when facing the golden behemoth in the future. If they hadn't, the fighters could have died quickly because the level difference between them and the enemy was too big. Hong and Lei Shen were fighting on the front lines, but Hong wanted the others to keep in charge of the situation as a whole. On the other hand, Bada confirmed what Hong said because, basically, even in a galaxy, one person will be born who can reach the universe level. But a figure at the level of the universe doesn't necessarily have the power to make domains. Even though the Earth is very lucky because it has 2 Star Traveler level warriors who can make this domain, Bada says that Hong and Lei Shen could win if they use soul-burning mode to kill the golden horn monster. On the other side, Elder Yanhai also said, even if the situation were bad for the humans, the 5 great nations could guarantee that most of the human elite could hide in underground shelters and reschedule afterward. It seemed like this Elder Yanhai had a very different opinion from the others. Right next to him, 5th Elder Akin interrupted Yanhai by making sure Hong and Lei Shen had given the right instructions, where they will both fight the golden horn monster, while the other warrior takes care of the war god's palace and keeps the world in order. Hong's orders can no longer be questioned. Elder Yanhai couldn't argue with anything Elder Akin said.
我们要继续领导好战神宫，为第一元老和第二元老冒着生命危险出战。刚才的指示你没听见吗？第一世界秩序。
Remember what would happen if the golden horn behemoth grew really fast. If the creature manages to reach the level of the universe, we can be sure that there will no longer be a safe place on Earth. This makes humanity's chances of surviving even smaller. Leader Hong would not let future generations lose hope, live in darkness, or be engulfed in chaos at any time in their lives. So, the god of thunder and Leader Hong would do everything they could to kill the golden horn behemoth monster, because both of them had already made preparations to fight the creature. Here, Hong would give the front line of the last line of defense to the other warriors. He also reminded everyone that as long as they could breathe, the fight would never end. After that, the two strongest people left the virtual space.
战斗便永不停止。
When Jiang heard that monsters were going to attack a city base, he left the room right away. Simultaneously, one by one, they were followed by other warriors who also left the room of the palace of the god of war. Until there was only Luo Feng left, who remembered and repeated Hong's previous last sentence. We will go to Luo Feng's house, where he looks very dizzy from all the bad things that have happened to mankind. Not long after that, the mother came with a plate of apples and said that she had just brought Xu Xin to check on his health. Because Luo Feng's mother brought it up in an awkward way. So, it wasn't long before Luo Feng went to see his wife in person to find out what had happened. Babata scanned Shushin's body and found that there were two twin babies inside Shushin's body. Xu Xin also said, in a slightly angry way, that Luo Feng would soon become the father of his children. But Xu Xin was worried about the future of his children. Of course, this kind of news should also make a father feel very happy. But when the future was still very uncertain, like it is now, Luo Feng did not dare let out the happiness he was feeling. Luo Feng tried to reassure his wife that everything would be okay. As Hong has said before, he would not let children lose hope for the future. The words that Hong said at that time were now being felt by Luo Feng, who was about to have a child. Luo Feng also promised his children, who were still in their mother's wombs, that he would make their childhoods very beautiful and safe. So, in this terrible situation, Luo Feng would not keep quiet like this. Where Luo Feng would try to do something to make his life as a father even more fruitful. Before Luo Feng left, Xu Xin asked him to come up with a name for his twin son when Luo Feng returned from his mission.
给孩子想个名字吧。罗峰。
And then we'll go to the Extreme Martial Club's headquarters. And this would be the day that Hong and Lei Shen would go to the front lines against the Golden Horn Behemoth. Before leaving, Hong gave him a chip that had all of his cultivation experience up to that point, which was as strong as it is now. Hong told Jiao Rao to tell the rest of the world what was on the chip so that in the future, it could help someone who used the method inside break through to a higher level. So, even if Hong doesn't come back on a mission this time, he has already given people something to hold on to so they don't lose hope. After that, both of them went to the battlefield. Not long after, Luo Feng also showed up. He had come to give him some equipment that Hong and Lei Shen might need when they fight the Golden Horn Behemoth. This equipment was made from things Luo Feng had found in the ruins of an ancient civilization. This equipment was made by Babata, and it includes a long spear made of cosmic materials. This equipment was specifically made for Hong.
所见最好的宇宙材料，很好。
As for Lei Shen, Luo Feng gave her the component liquid that was used to strengthen the Thunder God's weapon. Lastly, an inner armor used as body armor. This armor was perfect for Lei Shen to keep up with Hong when they faced the Golden Horn Behemoth. Considering that Hong himself wore the armor of the rubbed cloud rattan. On the other hand, Babata really didn't think that all the useful things she had found in ruins so far would be turned into weapons for other people. Luo Feng thanked Babata for the help he had given him.
就送到这里吧。
After reaching the disconnected bridge, which separates the safe zone from the wilderness, Luo Feng parted ways with the two strongest people on Earth. But before that, Hong said that Luo Feng already had other responsibilities. Because Luo Feng was already the third strongest person in the world. Hong asked Luo Feng to become the leader of mankind when he and Lei Shen were on the battlefield. Lead all the fighters and take on the mission of saving all humanity. After the motivation given by Hong, they finally split up. Lei Shen was proud of Luo Feng, so he gave him the cultivation experience chip he had been studying. Because he and Luo Feng had both learned thunder techniques to use in their attack techniques. A few moments passed. Still with Hong and Lei Shen, who had challenged the Golden Horn Behemoth. While the current situation shows that the Golden Horn Behemoth has come out of the water 3 times in a short time, the creature has also swallowed a lot of metal to restore its strength. Meanwhile, Hong and Lei Shen himself were still moving along the water area to track down the Golden Horn Behemoth and lock on to its location at all times. And as soon as the monster appeared, both of them would immediately act. In the middle of the fight, it was Luo Feng who held back the waves of monsters that were still coming. He finally saw a live broadcast that said the 2 strongest people on Earth were on their way to fight the strongest monsters that had ever been seen on Earth. Will this be the last battle for humanity? And will the 2 figures be able to handle the disaster that has killed so many people? Instead of being curious, let's wait until the next video to find out what happened. And that's all there is to episode 82 of Swallowed Star. Okay, thank you so much for staying until the end of my video. If you like this video, please click the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe so that this channel can grow. See you next my video. Bye.